Hey everybody, it's B-Nard back here with my 7th Pokemon team strategy guide. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the team that I used in battles 87 through 97 of my Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battles series. So we're going to do this the same way we always do. I'm going to talk about everything about the team so that you guys can get an in-depth understanding as to the strategy behind it. So the team is all lined up there by Pokédex number. So I'm just going to start at the top and run down the list. So I'm going to begin with Feraligatr, and Feraligatr is Adamant, trained for attack and defense, so it is the physical wall of the team. The ability is Sheer Force, the hidden ability, which increases the damage dealt by all moves that have a secondary effect in exchange for negating that secondary effect. So 2 moves on the set affected, Waterfall and Ice Punch. Waterfall due to the effect to flinch, and Ice Punch due to the effect to freeze. So that is actually going to go hand in hand with the held item, the Life Orb, which increases the damage dealt by all moves in exchange for taking away some HP. So the strategy here, if you guys haven't seen it before, in combination with Sheer Force, the Life Orb will actually not deduct any HP off moves that are affected by Sheer Force. So that's obviously a huge advantage in battle, being able to get 2 power boosts and not have to pay for it with any damage off the Life Orb. So very, very strong combination there. So the moveset then from most to least important, number 1 is definitely going to be Waterfall for power coverage, accuracy, stab, and the Sheer Force Life Orb combination. Next up is going to be Ice Punch for power coverage, accuracy, and the Sheer Force Life Orb combination again. Then I would go with Aqua Jet for some coverage, accuracy, stab, but more importantly, priority, since this guy is pretty slow. And then finally, Superpower for more power coverage, accuracy. Does decrease the attack and defense stats when used, but always worth it to get rid of big threat in battle. So I was actually very happy with the way this guy turned out. He became a major player on the team, really put in a lot of work in a lot of different battles, just very effective Pokemon on this team. So next up is Houndoom, and Houndoom is modest, trained for special attack and speed, so it is the special sweeper of the team. The ability is Flash Fire, which not only grants it an immunity to all fire type attacks, but also increases the power of its own fire moves when hit with one. So, but as you can see, the item is the Houndoomite, the Mega Stone, so it is also the Mega of the team. So when it Mega evolves, that ability is actually replaced with Solar Power, which will increase the power of all of its moves in exchange for HP at the end of each turn, but that will only activate when the sunlight is intensified. So since this isn't a sun team, that's not very useful at all for me, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So the moveset for most to least important, number 1 is going to be Flamethrower for power coverage, accuracy, stab, and a chance to burn. Next up is Dark Pulse for power coverage, accuracy, stab, and a chance to flinch. Then we have Will-O-Wisp to inflict a burn on an opponent, which can be very useful to cripple any of their physical Pokemon on the team. And then finally, Sludge Bomb for more power coverage, accuracy, and a chance to poison. So at this point, you're probably all wondering why I would use Houndoom, specifically Mega Houndoom, on a non-Sun team. And the short answer is just because I wanted to. So I really like Houndoom. I like its typing. I like its design. And I really wanted to use it on a team, but I didn't want to make a full-fledged Sun team. So I just kind of decided to use it, and it did work out pretty well, I will say. There are certain situations where it was completely walled off, but it did do very well overall. Very cool Pokemon. Next up is Roserade, and Roserade is modest, trained for special attack and special defense. So it is the special wall of the team. The ability is Natural Cure, which will heal all status conditions upon switching out of battle, which can obviously be very useful to help it survive. The item is the Assault Vest, which gives it a 50% special defense increase in exchange for not using any status moves. So you guys know me, have that item on pretty much every single one of my special walls, just because that defensive power boost is so great that I feel like I can deal without the status moves in exchange for that, because that is just huge. The moveset from most to least important, number 1 would be Energy Ball for power coverage, accuracy, stab, and a chance to lower special defense. Next up is Sludge Bomb for power coverage, accuracy, stab, and a chance to poison. Then we have Extra Sensory for power coverage, accuracy, and a chance to flinch. And finally, Shadow Ball for more power coverage, accuracy, and a chance to lower special defense. So, if for those of you who have been watching me since the beginning of my channel, which I know are not many, you will remember that all the way back in the beginning, I used a Roserade in the first couple of battles that I had. It wasn't really working out very well on that team, so I ended up cutting it. But ever since then, I've been kind of passively in the back of my mind looking for an opportunity to bring this thing back and use it more effectively. So with this being my last team for ORAS, it was kind of now or never. So I decided to bring it back here, and I have to say I was pretty impressed with it. I did put in a lot of work. It did very well. Again, there were certain situations like with Houndoom where it was just completely walled off by the opposing team, but other situations it really did very well, and I really enjoyed it, and I just really like it a lot. So I think it turned out pretty well. So next up is Togekiss, and Togekiss is modest, trained for HP and special attack, so it is the special tank of the team. The ability is Serene Grace, which will boost the likelihood of the secondary effects from any attack from in battle. The item is the Leftovers, which will restore some HP at the end of each turn, allowing it to survive longer in battle. The move set from most to least important, number 1 is definitely going to be Air Slash for power coverage, accuracy, stab, and thanks to Serene Grace, a huge 60% chance of flinching your opponent, which is obviously very, very critical in battle. Next up would be Thunder Wave to inflict paralysis to your opponent in battle, cut their speed stat in half. For those of you who don't know, which I'm sure most of you do, this is the classic power flinch lock that Togekiss uses, and basically that just works like this. You go for a Thunder Wave first to paralyze the opponent, assuming they're not electric or ground type or have an immunity to electric type moves. So then they're paralyzed. They're going to be slower than you because of that, and then you just start air slashing at that point and just wear them out like that. It's very effective. Just about any Pokemon, with the exception of a few, are going to be worn out by this. It is very, very effective in battle. So next up, as far as the moveset goes, we have Roost for regaining HP to let it survive longer in battle, obviously, and also removing the flying type for the turn. And then finally, we have Aura Sphere for some power coverage accuracy. So this is pretty much textbook Togekiss here with the Paraflinch lock and all that going on. I have to say I did enjoy it quite a bit. It was very, very effective in battle, and it was a very solid addition to the team. So next up we have a Zelf, and a Zelf is Adamant, trained for attack and speed, so it is the physical sweeper of the team. The ability is Levitate because it has to be, but also very useful, giving it an immunity to ground type attacks, which is again very useful in battle. The item is the Focus Sash, which allows it to survive any attack from full HP, leaving it with 1, which is useful for this guy because he is pretty brittle. The moveset from most to least important, number 1 is going to be Zen Headbutt for power, coverage, accuracy, stab, and a chance to flinch, which is nice. Next up is Fire Punch for power, coverage, accuracy, and a chance to burn. Then we have U-Turn for power, coverage, accuracy, and scouting with the mandatory switch out that it gives. And then finally, Thunder Punch for some more power, coverage, accuracy, and a chance to paralyze. So this guy is pretty cool. I liked using him a lot. Pretty effective in his role in battle, pretty quick and pretty strong, which is what you want out of a sweeper. So worked out pretty well for me. And finally, we have Excadrill. So Excadrill is Adamant, trained for HP and attack, so it is the physical tank of the team. The ability is Mold Breaker, which negates any opponent's ability that would give it an immunity to an attack type. So, for example, Levitate that we just went over that would give a Pokemon an immunity to the ground type. Mold Breaker is going to negate that, so now they can be hit with ground type attacks again. The item is the Leftovers, which lets it regain HP at the end of each turn, again allowing it to survive longer in battle. The moveset from most to least important, number 1 is going to be Earthquake for power, coverage, accuracy, and stab. Next up is going to be Stealth Rock to lay the entry hazard for the opposing team, so then each time they switch in a Pokemon from that point forward, they will be damaged, which is obviously very useful for breaking sturdies, Focus Sashes, all that kind of stuff. Just getting damage, since it does factor in typing, it can inflict a lot of damage, as I'm sure you all know and have seen. Next up, we have Iron Head for power, coverage, accuracy, stab, and a chance to flinch. And finally, Rock Slide for more power, coverage, accuracy, and another chance to flinch. So I like Excadrill a lot. I think it worked out very well again. One of my more favorite Pokemon from Gen 5, and I really did want to find a way to use it on one of my teams, and again, with this being my last team for ORAS, it was kind of now or never for this guy, so that's why I was able to get him on there, and it did put in a lot of work. It did work out very well, so really another really awesome and effective Pokemon all around. So that is going to be it for this team. I had a lot of fun using it. I think it was pretty effective, I will say. I think it was probably a little more challenging to use than most of the other teams that I have used on the channel, but it was really fun and I enjoyed it. So but as I've alluded to several times in this video alone, this is going to be my last team, last new team anyway for ORAS. So I'm going to be putting this down from here on out, just to give you guys a quick heads up as to what's to come in the future of the channel. I'm planning on doing a couple more multi-battles. I did do a few before and I enjoyed them. They were a lot of fun, so I want to get you guys a couple more of those up, and also a couple more opinion videos as well, and that's pretty much going to be it for the ORAS content. Of course, with the anticipation of Gen 7 Pokemon Sun and Moon, which we are a little over a month away from the release of those games. So I am excited for those, as I'm sure you would all imagine. So that is pretty much it for now. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. So that's it, and we will see you next time.